These fragrant flowers turn ordinary patios into peaceful retreats. Some patios are beautiful, some are comfortable, and some become your favorite place in the entire house. And honestly, the difference is often fragrance. That matters more than people realize. Because after a long day, most of us aren't looking for excitement. We're looking for peace, a quiet place to sit, a chance to slow down, a few moments where nothing needs our attention. Now imagine this. It's a warm summer evening. Dinner is finished. The sun is slowly setting. The air has finally cooled. You step outside onto your patio. A gentle breeze moves through the yard. And suddenly, you smell something wonderful. A soft floral fragrance drifts through the air. You take another breath, then another. Without even realizing it, you sit down. You relax. You decide to stay outside a little longer. That's the hidden magic of fragrant flowers. They don't simply decorate an outdoor space. They completely change how it feels. That changes everything. Experienced gardeners understand this. A patio doesn't need expensive furniture. It doesn't need a swimming pool. It doesn't need to be large. Sometimes, all it needs is beautiful fragrance. Because fragrance slows us down. It softens the atmosphere. It turns an ordinary evening into something memorable. Now imagine a simple patio, a comfortable chair, a small table, string lights glowing overhead, the fragrance of flowers drifting on the evening breeze. Suddenly, the space feels different, more peaceful, more welcoming, almost like a private retreat hidden in your own backyard. And honestly, that's one of the greatest gifts gardening can give us. Not simply beauty, but places that help us feel calm, places where we want to spend time, places that feel like an escape from the busy world. Today, we're exploring 7 incredible flowers that can transform ordinary patios into peaceful retreats. Because sometimes, the most relaxing places aren't found in expensive resorts. Sometimes, they're right outside our back door. And honestly, our first flower proves that you don't need large, dramatic blooms to create something beautiful. Because one of the sweetest fragrances in gardening comes from one of the tiniest flowers you'll ever grow. Sweet alyssum. Number 7. Sweet alyssum. Some of the most relaxing fragrances in gardening come from the smallest flowers. And honestly, sweet alyssum may be the perfect example. At first glance, this plant doesn't seem particularly remarkable. The flowers are tiny. The plants stay low to the ground. Many people barely notice them. But then, they catch the fragrance. And suddenly, everything changes. That matters more than people realize. Because sweet alyssum produces a soft scent often compared to honey. Warm, sweet, comforting, almost like fresh cookies cooling in the kitchen. Experienced gardeners love this flower because the fragrance feels gentle rather than overwhelming. It doesn't demand attention. It simply drifts through the air, quietly, patiently, making everything around it feel more peaceful. Now imagine this. It's early evening. The sun is slowly setting. Several containers of sweet alyssum sit around your patio. Tiny white flowers spill over the edges like little waterfalls. A gentle breeze begins moving through the yard. The fragrance reaches you. You take another breath, then another. Without even realizing it, you've stopped thinking about your busy day. You're simply enjoying the moment. That's the magic of sweet alyssum. Now here's where things get interesting. This flower blooms for months. It's perfect for containers, wonderful along patio edges, and easy enough for almost anyone to grow. Experienced gardeners understand something important. The goal isn't simply filling empty spaces with flowers. The goal is creating an atmosphere, creating a place where people naturally want to sit down and stay a while. And honestly, sweet alyssum does exactly that, because it proves something beautiful. A peaceful retreat doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes, all it takes is a comfortable chair, a summer breeze, and the sweet fragrance of tiny flowers drifting through the evening air. And honestly, our next flower smells completely different. Because instead of honey, its fragrance has been compared to vanilla and even cherry pie. Heliotrope. Number 6. Heliotrope. Some flowers smell fresh. Some smell floral. But heliotrope? Heliotrope smells like comfort. And honestly, that's what makes it so unforgettable. That matters more than people realize, because the fragrance of heliotrope is often compared to vanilla and cherry pie. Sweet, warm, almost like something delicious is baking in the oven. And somehow, the scent immediately makes people feel at home. That's the magic of heliotrope. Experienced gardeners love this flower because its fragrance isn't dramatic or overwhelming. Instead, it feels familiar, comforting, almost nostalgic. Now imagine this. The day's work is finally over. The evening air has cooled. You're sitting on your patio with a cold drink and a good book. Nearby, a container of heliotrope is covered in clusters of deep purple flowers. A gentle breeze moves through the yard. Its sweet fragrance drifts toward you. You take a deep breath, then another. Without even realizing it, your shoulders relax. Your thoughts slow down. The stress of the day begins to disappear. That's what makes heliotrope so special. It doesn't simply perfume the air. It changes the mood. Now here's where things get interesting. This flower grows beautifully in containers. That means you can place it exactly where you'll enjoy it most. Beside a favorite chair, near a porch swing, next to a small table where you drink your morning coffee or enjoy quiet evenings. Experienced gardeners understand something important. The best fragrant flowers aren't always the ones planted far away in the garden. They're the ones growing close enough to become part of your daily life. And honestly, heliotrope does this beautifully, because every evening, its fragrance gently reminds you to slow down, to breathe deeply, and to enjoy the simple pleasure of sitting outside on a warm summer night. And honestly, our next flower may surprise you, because millions of people grow it every year for its color, without realizing that certain varieties become wonderfully fragrant as the sun begins to set. Petunias, number lime, petunias. If you've ever been to a garden center in spring, you've seen petunias. They're everywhere. Hanging baskets, window boxes, containers on patios and porches. And honestly, most people grow them for one reason: their color. That matters more than people realize, because certain petunias have another secret. They're wonderfully fragrant, especially in the evening. That changes everything. The fragrance isn't strong or overpowering. Instead, it's soft, sweet, fresh, almost creamy. The kind of scent that appears with a cool breeze and then gently fades away. Experienced gardeners love this, because the most relaxing fragrances often aren't the loudest. They're the ones you discover little by little. Now imagine this. The sun has just slipped below the horizon. The day's heat is finally gone. You're sitting on your patio. Nearby, several hanging baskets of petunias sway gently in the evening breeze. Purple flowers, pink blooms, white petals glowing softly in the fading light. Then suddenly, you catch their fragrance. A few moments later, it returns again. Without even realizing it, you've stopped checking your phone. You've stopped thinking about tomorrow. You're simply sitting there, enjoying the evening. That's the magic of fragrant petunias. Now here's where things get interesting. Petunias bloom for months, often from spring until frost. That means they don't simply perfume 1 or 2 evenings. They become part of your entire summer, night after night, week after week. And honestly, that's one reason experienced gardeners keep planting them year after year. They're easy to grow, generous with flowers, and surprisingly fragrant, because sometimes the flowers we think we know best still have wonderful secrets. And honestly, our next flower isn't shy about its fragrance at all, because when it blooms, even a single flower can perfume an entire patio. Gardenia. Number 4. Gardenia. Some flowers smell pleasant, some smell sweet. And then, there is gardenia, a flower so richly fragrant that people often stop in their tracks the first time they smell it. And honestly, very few flowers feel as luxurious as gardenia. That matters more than people realize, because gardenia doesn't simply perfume the air, it transforms it. The fragrance is rich, creamy, deeply floral, almost like an expensive perfume created by nature itself. And somehow, Even one flower can make an entire patio smell amazing. That's extraordinary. Now imagine this. It's a warm summer evening. Dinner is over. The sky is turning shades of blue and purple. You step onto your patio. Nearby, a gardenia is blooming in a decorative container. Its creamy white flowers seem to glow in the fading light. A gentle breeze moves through the yard. The fragrance reaches you, then comes another wave, and another. Without even realizing it, you sit down, you take a deep breath, then another. The entire space suddenly feels different, more elegant, more peaceful, almost like a luxury resort. That's the magic of gardenia. Experienced gardeners love this flower because it creates atmosphere so effortlessly. You don't need dozens of plants. You don't need a large backyard. One healthy gardenia near a seating area can completely change the experience of being outside. And honestly, that's one of the greatest gifts fragrance can give us. It turns ordinary places into special ones. It turns simple evenings into memorable ones. And perhaps that's why people rarely forget their first gardenia. They remember the fragrance. They remember the evening. They remember how peaceful they felt. And honestly, our next flower creates a completely different kind of experience. Because instead of growing as a shrub, it climbs. And when its sweet fragrance fills the evening air, an ordinary patio begins to feel like a private vacation. Star Jasmine. Number 3. Star Jasmine. Some flowers smell beautiful. Star Jasmine changes the entire mood of an evening. And honestly, that's what makes it so unforgettable. That matters more than people realize. Because at first glance, Star Jasmine doesn't look especially dramatic. Its flowers are small, tiny white stars scattered across glossy green vines. Pretty, elegant, but rather simple. Then evening arrives, and everything changes. Now here's the hidden truth. As the sun goes down, the fragrance becomes stronger, much stronger. Sweet, fresh, almost tropical. A single vine can perfume an entire patio. That's extraordinary. Now imagine this. It's a warm summer evening. String lights glow softly overhead. A star jasmine vine climbs across a pergola beside your patio. Hundreds of tiny white flowers seem to sparkle in the fading light. A gentle breeze begins moving through the yard. Its fragrance drifts through the air. You take a deep breath, then another. Without even realizing it, you decide to stay outside a little longer. Perhaps you pour another glass of iced tea. Perhaps you pick up a book. Perhaps you simply sit there and enjoy the quiet. That's the magic of star jasmine. It invites you to slow down. Experienced gardeners understand something important. The most relaxing outdoor spaces don't necessarily have expensive furniture or elaborate landscaping. They simply make people feel comfortable. They make people want to stay. Star jasmine does exactly that, because fragrance changes how we experience a place. An ordinary patio suddenly feels different, more peaceful, more romantic, almost like a private vacation hidden in your own backyard. And honestly, that's why so many gardeners plant star jasmine near porches, pergolas, and seating areas. Because every evening, its fragrance gently reminds them that sometimes the best retreats aren't far away at all. Sometimes, they're right outside the back door. And honestly, our next flower may be the most magical of all, because it spends the entire day waiting for darkness, before it finally wakes up and fills the evening air with fragrance. Moonflower. Number 2. Moonflower. Some flowers wake up with the morning sun. Moonflower waits for the stars. And honestly, that's what makes it so magical. That matters more than people realize. Because all day long, its large flower buds remain tightly closed. Nothing seems unusual. Nothing seems particularly exciting. Then, evening arrives. The air cools. The sky begins to darken. And suddenly, the flowers start opening. Large white blooms slowly unfold one by one, almost like glowing lanterns hanging in the garden. That changes everything. Now here's the hidden truth. Moonflowers release a sweet fragrance that becomes strongest at night. The scent is soft, fresh, almost dreamy. Experienced gardeners often say there's something unforgettable about watching these flowers open, because it feels less like gardening and more like witnessing a little bit of magic. Now imagine this. It's a warm summer evening. The first stars are appearing overhead. A moonflower vine climbs across a trellis beside your patio. One flower begins to open, then another. Their white petals seem to glow against the darkness. A gentle fragrance drifts through the air. You sit quietly and watch. For a few moments, nothing else matters. No television, no emails, no noise. Just cool air, beautiful flowers, and a peaceful silence that's becoming harder to find these days. That's the beauty of Moonflower. It turns ordinary evenings into experiences. It gives us a reason to slow down, to pay attention, to appreciate simple moments. And honestly, perhaps that's why so many gardeners love it, because a peaceful retreat isn't necessarily a place. Sometimes, it's a feeling, and Moonflower creates that feeling beautifully. And honestly, our final flower takes evening fragrance to another level. Because when it blooms, an ordinary patio suddenly feels like a luxurious tropical hideaway. Angel's Trumpet. Number 1. Angel's Trumpet. Some flowers are beautiful. Some flowers are fragrant. And then, there is Angel's Trumpet. A flower so dramatic that it can completely transform an ordinary patio. And honestly, very few plants create an atmosphere quite like it. That matters more than people realize. Because Angel's Trumpet produces enormous hanging flowers that resemble elegant bells. Some blooms can reach nearly a foot long, and when evening arrives, their fragrance becomes stronger, much stronger, sweet, rich, almost tropical. A single plant can perfume an entire patio. That changes everything. Now imagine this. It's a warm summer night. The stars are beginning to appear overhead. A large angel's trumpet stands beside your favorite chair. Dozens of giant flowers hang gracefully from its branches. A gentle breeze moves through the yard. Their fragrance drifts through the air. You settle into your chair, take a deep breath, then another, and suddenly, the patio doesn't feel like a patio anymore. It feels like an escape, a private retreat hidden in your own backyard. Almost like a luxury resort where the only sounds are crickets and rustling leaves. That's the magic of Angel's Trumpet. It doesn't simply bloom, it creates atmosphere. Experienced gardeners understand this. The most peaceful places are often the simplest. A comfortable chair, cool evening air, beautiful fragrance, and a little time to do absolutely nothing. Angel's Trumpet somehow brings all of those things together. Perhaps that's why people never forget it. Because when its enormous flowers bloom and perfume the night air, the world seems to slow down. Everything feels softer. Everything feels calmer. And honestly, that's exactly what a peaceful retreat should feel like. Today we've discovered something wonderful. The most relaxing patios aren't always the biggest. They're not always the most expensive. Often, they're simply the places that make us want to stay outside a little longer. From the sweet honey fragrance of sweet alyssum, to the comforting scent of heliotrope, the cheerful perfume of petunias, the luxurious aroma of gardenias, the vacation-like atmosphere created by star jasmine, the nighttime magic of moonflower, and finally, the tropical fragrance of Angel's Trumpet. Each flower offers something different, but all of them do the same thing. They slow us down, they calm our minds, and they transform ordinary outdoor spaces into peaceful retreats. Because sometimes, the best escape isn't somewhere far away. Sometimes, it's a comfortable chair on the patio, a warm evening breeze, and the fragrance of flowers drifting through the night air. So now we'd love to hear from you. Which of these fragrant flowers would you most love to add to your patio? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoy discovering plants that make life more beautiful and relaxing, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and join us for more gardening adventures. Until next time, keep growing and keep appreciating the beauty that blooms around you.